to the Truth in My Days podcast, where we defend the Word of God against the challenges of men.
Hi, I'm Dana Torst, and welcome to another episode of the Truth in My Days radio program. Today, I'm here with John Torst and Jason Chan as they discuss the important topic of creation and evolution. We are continuing from the previous episode. We hope you enjoy.
Let's return to the horizon problem.
Okay.
According to the Big Bang Theory, let me say, that's what I accept. I accept that this miracle, I don't see a problem with starlight travel any more than I see a problem with creating out of nothing or organizing what that matter energy created, organizing it into planets and stars and solar systems and so on, all of that order we see, which again, according to the second law of thermodynamics, kind of happened.
Right, yeah.
They're miracles.
Yeah.
Okay, we accept miracles. I don't understand Christians who have no problem accepting the miracle of resurrection, but creation, no. There we have to go with what secular science claims. Makes no sense to me. So, if we go back now to the horizon problem of the universe, according to the Big Bang Theory, the universe expanded from a diameter of 10 to the minus 30 meters to 1 meter in the first 10 to the minus 30 seconds. Which means that light must have been moving at a speed 6.67 times 10 to the 21 times the maximum speed of light. Okay? Wow. 10 to the 21, we're talking about, that would be a million times a million times a billion. Okay? That's a lot faster than the maximum speed of light. So how do they explain that? You see the getting from point A to point B wasn't all done just by the movement of the light itself. It was done by the stretching of the entire universe. Okay? So that the two factors add together to move the two things apart. Stretching universe. Well, it's interesting. What do you read in Isaiah 42:5?
Yeah, Isaiah 42:5 says, "Thus saith God the Lord, he that created the heavens and stretched them out."
Stretch them out. Now, that's actually interesting because why? Primitive people making up an origins myth, why would they imagine that God stretched out the heavens? And yet we see that throughout the Bible. We see that again and again and again, that God stretched out the heavens. Mm-hmm. So, Isaiah 42:5, we saw that. Isaiah 45:12, I've made the earth and created man on it. My hand stretched out the heavens and all their hosts I have commanded. Isaiah 48:13, indeed, my hand has laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has stretched out the heavens. When I call to them, they stand up together. Isaiah 51:13, and you forget the Lord your Maker, who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundation of the earth. Jeremiah 10:12, he has made the earth by his power, he has established the world by his wisdom, and has stretched out the heavens at his discretion. Okay. So when the Big Bang people run into trouble because they need light moving from point A to point B faster than it supposedly can do, well, they have to add in the stretching. Yeah. Now it's completely ad hoc on their part. We'll just have it stretch out. Problem solved. And yet here, written thousands of years earlier, the Bible already has God stretching out the heavens.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And again, why would ancient peoples imagine that God had to stretch them out? But if this is how light got from point A to point B faster than the speed of light, well, it's already there in the Bible, thousands of years earlier than the Big Bang Theory invented it. And here's the question. Again, the Christians who hitch their apologetics wagons to the Big Bang Theory have no problem accepting this for the secular theory. But you mention it for the Bible? Oh, no. No, we don't accept that. So the reality is God put the stars in their current places almost instantly after their creation. Okay? And he stretched out the heavens as he wanted. And now, we can't measure how fast that was. There's no residual effect. But now, after he's created the whole world and everything is finished and the stars may be drifting away from us, that's all we can measure is the current rate of residual expansion, or their inertial drift rate. And then if we extrapolate from what it's doing now and assume it was always doing that, then we get a very wrong answer. One point of fact, it's only the maximum 7,686 years that we've had this rate drift expansion.
I see.
So you begin to see, I think, that there's so very many problems with the Big Bang Theory and with secular attempts. It's they keep trying to plug holes with the Big Bang Theory. And their theory is the universe started out as a singularity. One tiny little ball, or whatever you want to call it, so small, it's smaller than the head of a pin, and yet all of the matter, energy of the entire universe, was contained in this tiny little ball. Where did the ball come from? They can't tell you. It's just there. I think we talked about this before, that you can't have something in the universe just eternally existing. Right. And you can't have something coming out of nothing. So, so where does that come from? And you'll sometimes find the atheists saying, well, we don't know, but it doesn't matter that we don't know yet. Eventually we'll figure it out. And you'll find them appealing to this a lot of times, saying we don't know yet. Okay? But the problem here is not what we don't know, it's what we do know. We've already discovered the laws of science that tell you this can't have happened. So you can say we don't know yet, you can keep looking if you want, but science has already told you this model's not going to work. Okay? So that's what you start with, and then at some point you get a big bang, you get a big explosion. Now, they like to say that you shouldn't call it an explosion, you shouldn't call it a big bang, it really isn't a big bang. It's a sudden expansion. Okay, we won't call it a bang, we'll call it a sudden expansion. Same problem. What makes it suddenly expand?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know. It just did. A miracle, perhaps? Oh, no. You can't have miracles because we're not God there. It just did. So it sounds like a miracle. No! It just did. Okay, so it just starts expanding, and what happens was it expands, it begins to cool down. As it cools down, these really fast-moving things start to coalesce into subatomic particles, and then into atoms, and so on. And then eventually these atoms join together and give you different kinds of atoms, different kinds of substances, mostly hydrogen, and then heavier ones, helium and lithium. And they get a bit of problem with how do you get heavier elements in that? Well, you just do. Okay? Maybe they formed in stars. Where the stars come from? Well, they just formed. And yeah, they'll have stories, but the stories don't fit science. How? If you have subatomic particles, and you got the sun expansion, you got these subatomic particles or precursors to subatomic particles, and they're moving away randomly in every conceivable direction, and they're really super high speed.
Yeah.
How do they join together? What would make them join together? Because if you get, like, say, solar system, you need a star in the center. You need planets. You need centripetal motion, centripetal acceleration. You need to set up this particular type of motion. How do you get that when all you have is like subatomic particles flying away in every direction? What brings them together? Yeah, well, I asked, this fellow was a so-called old Earth creationist. He's also a physics professor.
Okay.
I asked him about it. What makes it happen? He said gravity. Gravity? Yeah, gravity. They have masses, very small, but gravity will pull them together. I said, no, that's not enough force. You imagine, force of gravity is G times M1, M2 over R squared. And imagine what's the R. Imagine what those tiny, tiny M's are. Yeah. That's not enough force. Okay? Just think of inertia. I mean, these things are flying in this direction. Is that enough force to change the direction? No. Right. He said, yep, doesn't matter how small they are. Gravity made them pull together. Really? Yeah, gravity. And gravity then accretes them into these big balls, and something happens to make them have centripetal motion. So you really think so? Gravity did it. Yep, gravity. And I asked him this question, how old is the Earth's atmosphere? Well, it's about as old as the Earth. Just almost as old as the Earth itself. Okay. So we're talking like 4 billion years? Sure. What's in the Earth's atmosphere? You know what's in the Earth's atmosphere, right?
Well, oxygen, nitrogen, mostly nitrogen.
Yeah, about 80% nitrogen. Yeah. N2. Yeah. Oxygen. Yeah. O2. What's the atomic mass of oxygen?
16.
Yeah.
Grams per mole.
Technically 15.994, but say 16, so 32 for an oxygen molecule, O2. Yeah. And I said, okay, now, so here's these oxygen and nitrogen molecules in the atmosphere of the Earth. How heavy is the Earth?
Very heavy.
Well, yeah. So if you imagine the gravitational force between an oxygen molecule and the Earth, how would that compare to the gravitational force between two subatomic particles?
It's much, much larger.
Yeah, orders of magnitude larger. I remember I did the calculation once, it was something like 10 to the 57 times larger.
Okay.
And I said, okay, so you have this force. It's 10 to the 57 times larger. Again, what's 10 to the 57? You know, a billion times a billion times a billion times. Yeah. How come, Professor, how come that in the 4 billion years, these oxygen molecules have not all accreted to the surface of the Earth? Because, I mean, the gravitational force between them and subatomic particles is far, far greater. Billions times billions times billions times billions times billion times billion times greater. Why didn't it do it? And he went absolutely silent. He had no answer. It's like he never even thought about this. They just say it. And this is the problem. They don't think it through. They say, oh, gravity. Yeah, sure, gravity attracts. So yeah, gravity did it. And they don't crunch the numbers. They don't see is this reasonable. And they don't look at what we see around us. If gravity could do that, then certainly all the atmosphere of the Earth would have been accreted to the surface of the Earth billions of years ago. But it isn't. So this idea that of the Big Bang, where you have all these subatomic particles forming and then coming together, it's scientifically a non-starter. You can't even, it won't even get to square one. And then, but they have to hold to this because they need some way to get God out. And what becomes really funny is like and the theory is already impossible, but then you look at the evidence for the impossible.
Okay.
And you will begin to see what a farce it really ends up being. They actually have the top three facts, evidence for the Big Bang. They point to number one, the so-called background radiation, the cosmic background radiation. And they say, well, where did this radiation come from? Fills the universe uniformly. They'll tell you there's this super cooled afterglow from the original Big Bang. Sound reasonable?
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, where's this radiation? Because you have this big burst of energy with this expansion. And so that burst of energy left its track because it's cooling, but it's not all gone.
Okay.
So you have that background heat, basically. And the temperature of the universe is not zero, it's above zero. And that's where it came from. It's a super cooled afterglow from the original Big Bang. Okay? That's evidence number one. Is it, though?
Thank you, everyone, for listening today. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but please join us for the next part tomorrow. Same time and same place. If you enjoy our content and think this is important material, the best compliment you can pay is by sharing this with your friends and family. This helps us out a lot. Also, if you enjoyed today's program, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this podcast. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to the Truth in My Days podcast with John Torse. We would love to hear from you. Please feel free to share any questions or comments you may have. You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, MeWe, and YouTube. Simply search Truth in My Days as one word. Again, Truth in My Days as one word, no spaces in between. And you can connect with us. You may also visit our website for more comprehensive material and to learn more about our ministry. Our website is truthinmydays.com. Thank you.